1,106 crores, reflecting a growth of 7.58%. However, due to decline in realizations of our core products and a subdued market environment in the fourth quarter, EBITDA declined by 13% to 161 crores, and net profit fell by 32% to rupees 91 crores. Treasury income also moderated, with its share in EBITDA dropping from 26 to 24%. There was a decline in profits on account of relatively weak steel realization across all products. Capacity investments that we made in the last 2 years are yet to bear fruit, and a decline in the value of the company's investments of the treasury, which is in line with a weaker secondary capital market. Despite these pressures, your company enhanced its net worth by 8% to rupees 1018 crores. The book value per share rose from rupees 494 to rupees 533. BK Steel Industries continues to maintain a strong balance sheet with a debt equity ratio of 0.29 and a healthy interest coverage ratio of 9.36 times. The global steel industry has been through a weak cycle, with imports from China adding further strain. Nevertheless, the Indian economy expanded by 6.5% in financial year 24-25, retaining its status as the world's fifth largest economy. This provides a strong domestic backdrop for BK Steel to grow in future. India's per capita steel consumption has risen to 78 kg, largely supported by the construction and infrastructure sector, which also accounts for 62% of the demand. This structural demand gives your company a strong platform for growth. Our major capex and projects. After the successful acquisition of the manufacturing unit at Southern Odisha, it was a strategic move made by the company in expanding our product portfolio and enhancing revenue streams. This acquisition was pivotal to our growth as it offers a unique opportunity to deepen product integration and create a robust, self-reliant manufacturing chain. The central focus for BK Steel during the year has been the execution of our strategic expansion program. At our Southern Odisha unit, which we now also call the Cuttack unit, we have already invested rupees 268 crores during the year, with a total outlay of rupees 725 crores planned further over the next 3 to 4 years. This program is designed to establish an integrated manufacturing chain spanning DRI, captive power, steel melting, rolling mills, ferroalloys, and TMT bar. It has been a significant period of transformation and achievement for your company, in which the commissioning of the DRI and the waste heat recovery boiler in the power division, which were done last year, and the other divisions faced some delays because of the obtaining of the CTO from the State Pollution Control Board, Odisha, and some industrial issues, which are now sorted and enabling us to leverage full operational efficiencies. Despite the challenging economic environment, we have demonstrated resilience, agility, and a steadfast commitment to our strategic objectives, which motivated us, and we are pleased to state that as on August 25 of the current year, we have started commercial production of the steel melting shop of 130,000 tons, the ferroalloy divisions of 15,000 tons, rolling mill of 180,000 tons, and AFBC boiler of the captive power division of around 14 megawatts. Our strategic emphasis is on optimizing our supply chain, enhancing market reach, improving margins through product quality and integrated operations, competitiveness, strengthen our cost efficiency, and create sustainable long-term value. We believe these steps will position us to achieve an EBITDA margin of 8 to 10% at peak revenue levels, supported by our comprehensive expansion and integration effort. Our plant locations near key resources and ports are designed to reduce logistics costs, and our waste heat recovery systems will support energy efficiency and sustainability initiatives. The full commissioning of Phase 2 in Odisha will generate significant economies of scale and operational efficiencies, making us more resilient against market volatility. While the proposed greenfield unit of the wholly owned subsidiary BK Utkal at Kalinganagar is yet to start any activities at the site, we are in talks with a major steel player in the industry for a long-term arrangement. And once that plan is firmed up, we are likely to start work at site. CSR continues to remain a cornerstone of BK Steel. The shareholders who have participated and raised very pertinent and relevant questions, starting with Mr. Garg. Your concerns about the performance of the year gone by and the plans are very well appreciated. It seems that you've done a lot of research in raising some very important questions regarding the performance of the company in the past and what holds for us in future. I think you've already sent us a list of questions on mail, so I think I will go on addressing those, which will cover your queries raised in the meeting today. Outlook for financial year 25-26. Top line is expected in the range of 1,400 to 1,500 crores. And bottom line, it's very difficult to ascertain because steel is a very commoditized kind of a business, very price sensitive. But our existing business, the margins are more or less stable. But the Odisha unit, the prices keep fluctuating, and with the current price levels and the current cost structure, we can expect an overall operating EBITDA of 8 to 10%. So here I would like to clarify that when we talk about 8 to 10% EBITDA, it's just the operating EBITDA. On top of that, we have some treasury income which gets added to the overall EBITDA of the company. So in the past, whatever last 2-3 years you have seen the EBITDA, you have to evaluate it by breaking it up into operating and non-operating. So the non-operating EBITDA also contributes to almost 300 to 400 bips to the overall EBITDA margin. And last year, the last quarter results were impacted severely because there was a kind of a loss in the treasury gains because of the market. The prices are, the investments are marked to market. So because of that, the results of the last quarter were impacted. I think this concern was raised by Mr. Jeswani. Regarding the volume growth in sales raised by Mr. Garg, why has the volumes grown only by 10% from 6.07 lakhs to 6.63 lakhs? I agree the volumes have grown only by 10% in the last 5 years. After our last expansion of the TMT capacity in Vizag in 2016-17, we did not add capacity, as it took us 2 years to achieve 80 to 90% capacity utilization of this new unit. We were more focused on improving profitability and reducing overall costs. We made a lot of changes in our operating cost by switching from furnace oil to coal. So currently, except Jamshedpur, most all of our units are running on coal, which is a cheaper fuel, which helps us in becoming competitive. And we were also preserving cash to get back into a backward integration, which is a very capex heavy. So post-COVID, we were looking at acquisitions. We bid for one unit which was not successful in 21. And finally, in December 21, we were able to get the acquisition of Maheshwari Ispat. So all this has kind of made our volume stagnant because no new capacities were added. But now with the addition of the Cuttack unit, the volumes will grow in different products. Currently, we were only doing rolled bars. Now our product basket will includes DRI, ferroalloys, billet, and almost 900,000 tons of rolled products of sections and TMT bars. Sales volume for 26 and 27. For 25-26, we are looking at around 6.25 lakh tons of rolled bars, around 96 to 100K of DRI, 40,000 tons of billet, and 6.5 thousand tons of ferroalloys. For 26-27, this volume will increase to 7.5 lakh tons of rolled bars, 102 to 108 thousand tons of 102 to 108,000 tons of DRI, 110 to 120,000 tons of billet, and 15,000 tons of ferroalloys. Why is our revenue and EBITDA been flat since 2018? If I look at the numbers, what has been there, the EBITDA has grown significantly between 17-18 to 21-22. 21-22 was as an exceptional year, which is not comparable. But if you see from 17-18, EBITDA was 143 crores. Even after a stupendous year of 21-22, when the EBITDA was 240 crores, 22-23 it was 180, and 23-24 it was 185. So it has grown. Thereafter, 24-25 there was a decline for reasons explained earlier, due to softening of prices and due to lower treasury income in the last quarter. So this explains the reason why the EBITDA, what has been the status. But we can expect the overall EBITDA to improve in 26-27 with the commissioning of all the units in the Cuttack plant. Our sustainable EBITDA going forward could be in the range of 8 to 10% as far as the operating EBITDA is concerned. And we also maintain a healthy treasury portfolio. So if we add to that, it could add, obviously it's very subjective, but another 200 to 300 basis points to the overall EBITDA. What is our total installed capacity and what is our starting raw material? Our starting raw material is mainly iron ore and coal for the Cuttack unit. Our rolling capacity after the commissioning of the Cuttack plant is 900,000 tons of, it has gone up from 900,000 tons to 10,50,000 tons for the rolled products. Apart from that, we have a DRI capacity of 1,30,000 tons, billet making capacity again of 1,30,000 tons, and ferroalloy capacity of 15,000 tons. Are we into long products? We are only into long products. We do not manufacture flat products. Update on Cuttack unit. As mentioned in my speech, we have already commissioned all the units, the ferroalloy, the rolling, the steel melting, and the AFBC power plant. So all of them have been commissioned in phases in August. DRI and the waste heat recovery were commissioned last year. So I think now with stabilizing of production, we will be able to get the maximum benefit of the acquisition in the next 2 quarters and in the following coming financial year. Total working capital requirement for this unit is estimated in the range of 175 to 200 crores as far as the phase 1 is concerned. Payback expected from the capex Uh, as rightly raised, the concern raised by you and other shareholders, backward integration is a very challenging and very capex heavy industry. But we thought about it a lot, and we thought that this is the only way in which we can grow, because the volumes of our existing businesses were stagnating, and going forward, standalone rolling mills were facing a lot of challenges because of integrated players' cost structure. So, although the margins in this industry is very volatile, but steel being a cyclical industry, we are confident that 1 or 2 good years can take care of 3 or 4 bad years. So we are hoping that the cycles will turn positive. Last 2 years have been not very good, but going forward with a lot of impetus from the government, the steel sector and the safeguard duties, the steel sector is poised to turn around, and those are the 1 or 2 years which will help us in getting some extra margin, which will take care of the ROI and the ROCE for the capex deployed in the Cuttack unit. The payback period we expect from the capex we have already made between 5 to 6 years. It could be lower, but then again, steel sector, how it will perform, it's difficult to predict. But we are confident that what we have done is for the long-term benefit of the company and the shareholders. And as far as the peak revenue and margin potential from phase one, peak revenue could be in the range of 700 to 800 crores, depending upon what products we end up selling apart from TMT bars, because we have a TMT capacity of 1,80,000 tons, whereas our billet capacity is 1,30,000 tons. So we have scope of increasing the TMT sales, but then it will depend if we are able to get some market share in the new markets we are entering in Odisha and Bengal. Once our volumes pick up from the Cuttack plant for the TMT bars, apart from the Andhra market where we are already existing, the revenue can go up further, and the margin potential would be in the range of 8 to 10% as far as the Cuttack unit is concerned. Additional depreciation of around 20 crores from the capex already done, an interest burden of 17 to 18 crores. We are A-rated, so we continue to get very low-cost funds from the banks. So on the term loan and the working capital, we expect to pay 17-18 crores annual interest. Apart from phase two, any capex plans? See, right now we are not very sure what capex will end up doing in the Kalinganagar. We are still working on that, because we have been bidding for a number of tenders for a large steel player, but till something works out, we are not being able to decide on what capex, but it could be in the range of 150, 125 to 150 crores. Why Kalinganagar is getting delayed? As we have explained earlier, that there were talks with Tata Steel for a TMT conversion contract, in which the rates were negotiated in March 23-24, March 23-24, but right at the moment when we were supposed to get the LOI, they kind of delayed the plans. So whatever we had planned initially kind of got delayed, and now we are looking at other contracts from them in processing of flat products. But till such time we are successful in any of the tenders, we are not sure when we will take up the capex. So it might get further delayed depending upon how and when we are able to get some short contract from Tata Steel. We incurred 52 crores. So 225 crores was spent on the acquisition, and 327 crores out of the 552 crores we have spent on the refurbishment and adding of extra equipment in the power plant, in the rolling mill, in the ferroalloy, because what we acquired was basically the infrastructure and the land. Most of the equipments were in a very bad state. There was no electrical equipments virtually. Everything kind of either old technology or they were stolen. So we had to put a lot of investments in the electrical cables, motors, transformers, panels, virtually everything, the boilers, the turbine, a lot of things have been refurbished, a lot of new equipments have been installed. Um, Status of the distributorship, what we had acquired a few years back. So currently, we are having our 3 branches in Coimbatore, Pune, and Bangalore, and a long-term tie-up with a distributor in Chennai. We have closed down Hyderabad and Mumbai, which were not profitable. We intend opening more branches. There will be no capex spent on them. But the main challenge in opening new branches is to get the right people, as most of the products are sold on credit. Question on what discount to Tata Steel do we sell our TMT in the market, and what is the markup at which TISCO sells the TMT that we convert for them. Tata Steel has its own pricing model. Normally the premium in the market is around 10 to 15% compared to secondary producers. Our job work products are sold at the same price as their own manufactured products. So once it is branded at Tata Tiscon, the price is same. How much revenue or EBITDA will increase if we convert 100% of our conversion business into TMT sales under our own brand? See, we do around 4.5 lakh tons of job work of TMT. So it roughly translates to 1800 to 2000 crores. But the main challenge is to sell such a large volume. Need to have a very strong brand pull in the market to be able to sell that. Why is our exports falling from financial year 20 to 23 and in 25? See, the main reason why exports had grown in 2019-20 and that 2021 was that we were exporting large volumes of TMT bars to Myanmar. Our section exports have remained at the same levels. Last 2 years, ever since there was a military coup in Myanmar, the TMT exports have stopped. So we switched to job work in Vizag for the TMT bars. And our own sections, what we export to the Middle East, has also faced severe competition from China. Last year, 2 years, China has disturbed a lot of our volumes because they are incentivized by the government to export, because of which our orders from a lot of our regular customers are falling. So because we are more focused now in the domestic market, we are trying to build volumes in the domestic market to kind of replace the export markets, because for us exports was not a very big focus because there are a lot of challenges and price competition from China, which our size of company, we are difficult to deal unless we are into doing some niche products where our volumes have remained stable. Can we achieve our FY24 revenue target of 2000 crores? Because of the delay in commissioning of the steel melting shop and the rolling mill, the guidance for 24-25 for 2000 crore will not be able to. I've already mentioned what our top line is going to be, but certainly we will be able to achieve it in 26-27. Railway sidings, we do not have any railway sidings. What is the rationale for having 5 plants in Vizag? Why don't we consolidate them in a single location? Each unit has a different product mix and of different capacity, so it is not possible to consolidate them at one location. Besides, all the units are fully depreciated, so it does not make any economic sense to evaluate this option. We have two smaller mills in one location, one TMT mill in a different location, one larger section mill and bright bar unit in a separate location. So all of them we've grown organically by setting them up, so it's not possible to consolidate them. When do we get our shares listed in NSE? This suggestion has been received from a lot of shareholders. We wanted our Cuttack plant to come into full operations so that we can, at least show some growth in the numbers and then opt for the listing in NSE. What can the shareholders expect from the company going forward? Management is committed to increasing the shareholder wealth. We are trying to monetize some non-core assets of the company. We are trying to optimize and streamline the operations in the Cuttack unit. Despite the challenges of acquiring a shut plant for 12 years, it has really been a very challenging acquisition, and the concerns raised by the shareholders is very genuine. We've been delayed a lot due to a lot of uncertainties which were surrounding the acquisition, which at the time of acquisition we were not aware. But now, in the last 2 years, things have streamlined, all the operations have started, and we expect better times going forward. This answers the questions of Mr. Garg. And as far as common questions, thank you, Mr. Amit Kumar Banerjee and Jaideep Bakshi ji, for your kind words about the company. We noted your suggestions about interim dividend and plant visit, and we will take cognizance of this and communicate to you of our plans about the same. Last query raised by Mr. Jeswani. In financial year 24-25, you have asked how much was the sales from the Cuttack unit. So we manufacture about 65,000 tons of DRI with a turnover of approximately 150 crores. And we produce 1 crore 29 lakhs approximately of power in the waste heat recovery, out of which around 48 lakh units were sold. Rest were all consumed captively. As far as the timelines of the commissioning of the other divisions, I've already communicated that in August, the steel melting shop and the rolling mill and ferro and the AFBC all have been commissioned, and we are ramping up capacity as we speak. So I think in 1 or 2 months, all the units will be now in full steam. And now that the rainy season is getting over, we expect the volumes to pick up from the Cuttack unit, as far as TMT sales, ferroalloy sales, and the overall integration of the unit. You were asking about the SMS. So SMS, which we acquired from the erstwhile management in the Cuttack unit, they were all of smaller capacity of 8 tons and 10 ton batches. Those were not efficient, and in today's time, we have scrapped them and put up in the same place 22 tons induction furnaces, 2 of which have already been commissioned last month, and 4 more are planned as part of the phase 2. So 22 ton 2 induction furnaces are already been commissioned. Land, as far as goes, the total 180 acres of land is there, and to make the most, take the most advantage of the acquisition, the capex which is planned in phase 2 is to, make full utilization of the existing infrastructure of the land which is available. So I think once we commission the new facility of 500 into 2 DRI, the 4 22-ton induction furnaces, the second ferroalloy unit, and the power plant. I think it is enough. The land is enough for it to take care of the expansion. I don't think beyond that there is any scope to add any further capacity apart from adding a mill for the rolling to match the billet capacity. Challenges which we are facing, I've already explained that the main challenge which we have faced is that we entered into a acquisition which was a closed unit, so a lot of uncertainties were there because the equipments which we acquired were mainly for the infrastructure, and what we expected, the situation was much bad from what we had initially evaluated. A lot of capex has gone into changing of the equipments, upgrading of the equipments, that has resulted in significant delays. So whatever was proposed in 23-24 or earlier, they all got delayed by a year and a half. And regarding Kalinganagar and other questions which raised by Mr. Jeswani, I think already we have covered in the earlier questions raised by Mr. Garg. And I think we are happy by the concerns raised by Mr. Garg and Mr. Jeswani about the performance, and it helps us relook at what we have done in the past and how we need to do things in the future, so that whatever we are projecting, we are able to achieve. There has been some delays and slippages, but we are trying our best to ensure that these things are taken care by deploying project management consultants so that the project timelines are maintained. And the reason why the margins, has been raised, margin concerns have been raised, is that we are a steel company, so we cannot put the money in FD to get a return of 5 to 6%. The capital which is generated is redeployed, and I can assure you that that capital is going to get a much better return than putting it in bank, because steel industry has faced challenges, but it has seen better times also. We have done our investments and we are consolidating things for the better times to come. When all of these concerns regarding payback, regarding ROC, regarding return on investments, all will be taken care of. And we are not very leveraged till now. So whatever capex we are planning is well within our achievable means to repay and to get a good return on them. And we are also maintaining a healthy treasury which can take care of our capital requirements in emergencies. So I think all concerns raised will be taken care of going forward. You have to have some faith in the management, and we can assure you that we will not disappoint you. I think with this we have replied to all of the queries of our shareholders to their satisfaction. Now we are proceeding